I'm Ilya Marchenko.
I'm Dennis Kudla.
I'm Jesper de Jong.
I'm Henry Laaksonen.
I am Francisco Cerundolo,
and you are listening to the Game to Love podcast.
Hey, welcome back, tennis fans. Finally, the US Open is over, and I feel a little bit deflated, I have to say, JG. I know what it's like after every slam, and I know that we sort of moan about the late nights, and we are sort of struggling our way through the tournament. But as soon as it's over, I miss it. And I'm not going to lie, I miss it again right now. It's Carlos Alcaraz, obviously. Feels age ago now. I feel like it was all a dream, but Alcaraz did win his first ever Grand Slam title, and he is now world number one. I can't quite believe I'm even saying it. I didn't think this time last year when we were covering the end of the US Open that this time I'll be saying Carlos Alcaraz. I mean, can you believe it?
No, it's been a bit of a whirlwind 2 weeks. Really great event, record attendance. So shout out to everyone who did visit the US Open this year in New York. It seemed like a really good atmosphere, and the tennis did deliver. We saw some really good performances from young players. On the women's, Iga won, and she was amazing. Alcaraz winning the men's. I thought Sinner was a real standout. Francis Tiafoe impressed me massively. And you can't really forget the finalist, Casper Ruud. He's climbing the rankings this year, now into number 2. But what a tournament from him. He looked seriously impressive. And I feel a bit sorry for him because against a lot of other opposition, he probably would have got a little bit more success. But like he said in the press room afterwards, please, I do not want to play any more Spanish people in a Grand Slam final. The first thing I was thinking of was probably you don't want to play a Serbian either. I feel like it's the 2 Spaniards, a Serbian. Daniel Medvedev is a bit 50-50. I'm not sure. I probably preferred Daniel Medvedev than the others, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't get much more tricky, does it? Then the first one he had Rafa at Roland Garros, which is pretty crazy. And now Carlos Alcaraz at the US Open, which is his best slam, which we can now confirm it is his best slam. He's done the best at it. He's only played it twice. And he looks incredible. And he's never really lost there, has he? I mean, I know he retired against Felix last year. Yeah. So he's never been beaten in a full match at the US Open, really. So I'm excited to see what happens next year. He'll probably go into the tournament as favourite, I would have thought, if he continues this great run of form all the way round. And I was watching some really interesting videos at the end of just the end of the day yesterday. So my net's lagging a little bit.
Yeah, you've been lagging the whole podcast, by the way. It is pretty bad.
All right, apologies.
I don't know if it's worth you coming out and maybe coming back in.
Okay,
that's up to you. I know you've got the tweets, but maybe worth just going in and out. I was going to give a shout out to everyone in the live chat. Thanks for joining us. We've got Kathy in, we've got Hinny in, Ashley and Drew. And he says, the US Open was great. So much fun to watch. And I echo that as well. I just like how we saw the changing of the guard. As much as it disappointed me, Rafael Nadal losing to Tiafoe, it was really refreshing to see some of the young talents on tour breaking through like they did. And I think Sinner has real big potential to go on and follow what Carlos Alcaraz has done. And who's to say Sinner can't do something like Alcaraz did maybe next year? It's certainly within the realms of possibility. And I think Ben is back. Here he comes.
Yeah, right.
So got the tweets.
Yeah.
We'll go through them.
Indeed. Yeah, I was going to say just before my lagging began, it was really interesting. There was a video that was getting posted around where they were sort of looking towards all of the current players who are on tour and all of the top players as well. And they'd been round, obviously, this was before the US Open victory anyway, and asking what they thought of Carlos and their thoughts on how far he can go in the game and that type of thing. It was great to hear from Rafa, from Djokovic, from Zverev, and all of them were the same. Everybody said, well, he's not the future. he's the now. He is one of the best players in the world, and they all said he's going to win a Grand Slam and he will be the world number one. And that was the consensus thing, that they didn't know he was going to be world number one so soon, but it's the same thing. They all see the same thing in him. They know his greatness is within Carlos Alcaraz, and it's just crazy that it came so early. I didn't expect him to be winning one this year, but I'm so happy that he has.
For me, these are the new rankings, but in terms of him being the best player in the world as number one, I think it's generous. I'm not sure if he is the number one player, but he is in terms of the ATP rankings. I think it's between the four players: Medvedev, Djokovic, Nadal, Alcaraz, and then there's a gap. I think them four are the ones out in the lead at the moment. But let's have a zoom in to the actual rankings. You've got Alcaraz number one now, Ruud number two, and just go up. Sorry, I think this is from as of the 12th of September. So as of today, these are the official rankings. Rafa's in third, Medvedev fourth, Zverev fifth, Tsitsipas sixth, Djokovic all the way down in seventh, which is crazy. Norrie, he's cracked the top 10. He's the eighth best, just more or less same points as Novak Djokovic, Cam Norrie. Rublev 9 and Hurkacz 10th.
Yeah. Well done, Cam Norrie. Really doing a great job. Djokovic, very unfortunate to have so many points just disappearing. Obviously, well, we lost 4,000 before the US Open anyway. And then the US Open, he was in the final last year. So even more points coming off of the Djokovic total. But the one thing it does mean is next year, there's a hell of a lot of points up for grabs for Novak Djokovic. That's for sure. And if he goes deep in all of these Grand Slams next year, don't be surprised if that name creeps its way back up to the top again. That's all I'd say.
Yeah. Let's move on to the next one. This is from Nike. I thought it was a nice touch from them. Of course, Alcaraz is a Nike athlete. Number one doesn't care about 19. Carlos Alcaraz shows that when you play with true belief, grit, and a smile, nothing is out of reach. Congratulations, Carlos Alcaraz, on your first major and become the youngest men's world number one ever. Just do it. And I love the poster they put out of Alcaraz doing the trademark roar. It always bemuses me how wide he can open his mouth. I think there's nobody can open their mouth as wide as Carlos Alcaraz.
No, it's very, very true.
I've seen him once before. I forget what TV show. How many marshmallows can you fit inside your mouth? And I forget exactly who was doing it, but someone quite famous was doing it on a talk show once. And I was just thinking, Carlos Alcaraz, I think he would give them a run for their money.
I've seen
he
another
could probably
one.
fit about 40 marshmallows in his mouth.
Yeah, I've seen another one with like Maltesers as well. I think it'd be pretty good at that. How many Maltesers you get in Alcaraz's mouth? Maybe it can be like one of those fates up the village field. You go up there and then everybody has to guess how many Maltesers are in.
How many
Alcaraz's
tennis
mouth.
balls?
Well, I reckon he could probably squeeze about 4 in there if I'm perfectly honest.
Come on.
It's quite a decent gob he's got on him there, isn't it? So let's move on anyway. Well, this
one from Tennis TV,
one.
And I know you like it, so I'll let you read it out.
Yeah, end of 2020, 141 in the world was his ranking. End of 2021, after US Open 2021, number 38. So really flew up after that quarterfinal performance. End of 2021. Number 32, and that was strange. I was actually listening back to when we spoke to David Ferrer just to see what was said, and we were sort of alluding to the fact his first slam would come on hardcourt, which was really quite good. Good bit of insight, good GTL insight there. And after 2022, well, US Open number one. I mean, can't go any higher now, which is the only annoying thing for Carlos Alcaraz, so he's already at the top.
It's annoying but interesting because so many players historically have reached the world number one and then struggled. More so in recent years on the women's side. Naomi Osaka won obviously a few Grand Slams, struggled. Not even just world number one, but just winning your first Grand Slam. More to the point. Andreescu.
Yeah,
Krajcikova, there's a handful, there's millions. Andreescu, what's the other one? Raducanu, of course, the most recent example.
Kenin.
It's very difficult. Sophia Kenin, to win a Grand Slam and then maintain that level and continue to win them. Dominic Thiem, of course, the biggest example. That's the one I was trying to think of. Won his Grand Slam. He spoke about the pressures then of after him winning it, and mentally he had a lot of fragility and problems. I was quite open in his mental health, Dominic Thiem, how it affected him. I'm just worried about Carlos Alcaraz now. He's now reached the pinnacle and on top of the Grand Slam, also achieved world #1 status. Is it going to rot away inside of him? Is it going to make it very difficult? Like you said, he can't go any higher. He's already reached the top. And is that going to make it very difficult for him with his training and everything else? I think he's got enough to just be different to a lot of others because I think he's made differently.
Well, I'm going to now change to another tweet, which I think fits in well with what you were just saying, which is this one, because I think it is a valid thing. Like how is he going to stay at #1? I think it's the same way which he came into this tournament with this great tactic. And it was like Ferrero saying, come into the US Open. I gave him some advice to go to the net on any ball that was short. He said that he felt Carlos was losing a little bit of the joy on court and just trying to win. So he encouraged him to play his game, which is ultra aggressive. I think that's great. Great advice from Juan Carlos Ferrero. Let him be himself.
Well, it worked massively. I loved how he was always coming into the net, ultra aggressive or ultra aggro. Is that what they call it?
Yeah, I know. Just a short
Ultra
term.
aggro. He was just so solid doing that. And there was some volleys where I had my head in my hands thinking he's not going to be able to get there or he's the wrong time to come in. But he just seems to be able to throw his body at the balls. Like you see passing shots, think, oh, he's just been passed. Oh, no, he's got the ball. There's so many times in the commentary I was just bemused with his movement. He just seems to move extremely well and just dives around the court like someone who's about 7 foot tall, quite frankly. His reach is incredible. I'm going to give a shout out to Mamadou Tiam for the super chat. Appreciate that. So now all tennis player is going to want to beat Alcaraz. That's the other thing. Good timing for this one as well. Thank you, Mamadou, because he's now got the bounty on his head.
Massively.
People are going to be looking at Alcaraz. I want to beat the world #1. I want to beat this new kid on the block. Everyone's raving about him. Tsitsipas must be looking at him thinking he's beaten me twice already. I'm sick of the sight of Alcaraz. He's doing everything which I was supposed to be doing. Next time I play him, I'm going to start hitting the balls at him.
Maybe.
I'm going to beat him. I'm not allowing him to do this. I'm going to find a strategy. I've watched him now. People know his ultra aggressive style. Are we going to see players find a strategy to overcome that? Is he going to have to change the way he plays? Probably.
I think.
Is there going to be more lobs being thrown in now, or people trying to goad him in on shots and then try and pass him?
I think someone more to the point that will probably be more looking to take him down will be Sasha Zverev, to be honest. I think before he went off injured, he was starting to come to the forefront and look like he might take the world #1 spot. Coming into the US Open, he could have had a real shot of winning the US Open. Unfortunately, the injury. I think once he's back on his feet and he's looking good again, he's going to be having his eyes on Carlos Alcaraz. He's obviously defeated Alcaraz when he was just coming through. He had to play him a couple of times, I believe. And managed to defeat him. But it's getting closer and closer, the gap. And now probably Alcaraz would fancy his chances against anybody. But be careful. Zverev, a danger to everybody. Right,
this one's from Ricky Dalman, and it's the updated after the US Open rankings and everything else. So we've got the ATP rankings: 1, Alcaraz. Race to Turin: 1, Alcaraz. Race to Milan: Alcaraz, #1. He's not going to be entering the race to Milan. He won that last year, the next-gen finals, with ease. He's in his own world. He's beyond all of the other young players coming through. He's just a lot better than them.
Yeah.
And we're talking about the actual ATP finals. He's probably a favourite to win that.
Yeah, you'd think so right now. I mean, I'm interested to see how he gets on the indoor hard courts as well. That's the next sort of swing that we get to see.
I just want to see Rafa, because Djokovic is currently not qualified.
Yeah.
Djokovic needs to win an event, maybe Paris-Bercy, and then he can get into the race to Turin. It would be great if Djokovic is there, because then we get to see Djokovic, Alcaraz, Medvedev, Nadal. Them 4 the ones who are going to really put bums on seats, and I want to see who can come out on top from them. Kathy makes a good point. I'm not sure if we've got a tweet about it, but if not, we'll talk about it now. And that's JC Juan Carlos Ferreira. It's talking about the percentage of ability he believes Alcaraz is at the moment. And he said he's at 60%, Alcaraz. He believes there's so much unrealized potential from him, and he's going to get onto that. And I don't know if this is the one, is it?
I'm not sure. It's another
No,
one.
it's not. Maybe I didn't send it, but I definitely did see what Kathy said. Maybe I forgot to send it to you.
Okay,
very interesting, because he has got a lot of room to grow still.
Yeah, I did see that one.
If what Juan Carlos Ferreira is saying is real, of course, he might just be bigging him up.
Yeah, I mean,
It
well
could be
within
it's quite possible. But the reason I make a point of it is because I actually would say the same thing. I think this is just the first edition of Alcaraz. I think we've got him. I think we're going to see a lot better from him.
Well, I said it in the final. I think that his tennis brain won't stop growing until it's 25. So imagine how scary he's going to be when he hits in another 6 years' time.
It's scary,
yeah, that's it. So
he could dominate.
Well, talk about domination, and there you go. It comes up on the screen. This one, Juan Carlos Ferreira saying Sinner and Carlos could dominate the tour for maybe the next 10 years from the level that I saw the other day. Of course, there's other players like Zverev team, Casper, Tsitsipas. They're going to be there, but with all respect, that's what I think.
100%. I spoke about it when you left briefly. It's what I'm on completely right now. I feel Sinner and Alcaraz, they are going to be the next big things. There's going to be someone else as well and a few others which we're not sure about. And when I say that, I mean, you see what Francis TFO this event? There's going to be a few 25-year-old, 26, 27-year-olds who just are going to really flourish late.
Hit the peak, yeah.
We don't know who that's going to be yet. It could be anyone. You can make a case for loads of names because sometimes a player may come from the Challenger, someone who's just been on the Challenger for the last 4 years, and they become something amazing. Who knows? It's not going to just be a straight run for these two.
Khachanov.
No, it's not going to be Khachanov. Despite him having a really good tournament, I've got to give him credit for that. This was his best tournament in a long time. Regardless of that, we're going to see a really interesting new generation of tennis come through. And it's not going to be Sinner and Alcaraz, but out of this current crop, they're the ones to beat right now. And I'd put them above the likes of a Zverev team, Ruud and Tsitsipas currently.
It's tough to say. Like the way Zverev was playing, even just when he got that injury, he looked like he was potentially going to go on. It had the feeling that he could defeat Rafa and he could go on and win the whole entire tour. That's how he gave you those sort of vibes when he's on. He can beat anybody. It's just about how he comes back after the injury. But I do agree, Sinner's improving all the time.
Well, as Ashley says, Sinner's awesome. That match between him and Alcaraz was legendary. Definitely goes down as one of the greatest matches of the tournament.
Sinner's getting better and better. I mean, we've seen what he did, 2 sets against Djokovic and stuff like that. That's difficult on grass. Right. Okay, on to the next one is Vance. And this one, just talking about Leighton Hewitt in the 2001 season at the 4 majors. He did the 3rd round in Australia, quarter-final Roland Garros, 4th round at Wimbledon, and then won the US Open. And then we've got this here. Alcaraz, 21 years later, does exactly the same thing, that's bizarre, isn't it?
Yeah, weird how tennis sort of lines up. It really is. And Hewitt's a great tennis player. I'm never going to forget. I loved watching him. Alcaraz doing the same thing as what he did. He just, I don't know. It's just a weird one with numbers more than anything. But I think he's going to eclipse Leighton Hewitt as a tennis player, which is big. Too. That's big praise because Hewitt is a great.
Yeah, he really is. He when he came on the scene, he sort of like blew everybody away. And that was at the start. I didn't really like Leighton Hewitt. I don't know why, but he was just little bit too mouthy. He had the "come on" and all that type of thing. But then towards the middle and latter stage, I actually really did like him. So
he only won 2 Grand Slam titles as well. I was just checking to make sure I was right in saying so.
It's not.
Alcaraz won 1. He's going to have a better career, I believe. Pretty sure of that.
Well, this one, we're going to be talking about, this is the amount of time on court, isn't it, for Carlos? And is a new record been set? And this was surpassing Kevin Anderson at Wimbledon in 2018 for the most time played at a Grand Slam tournament in singles. And that was the record in 1999. And he, on 3 hour and 2 minute mark of the US Open final, he'd been on court 23 hours and 21 minutes. I mean...
No, the incident with Kevin Anderson was in 2018, but the records have been counted up since
I was only been
1999.
counted since 99.
Yes.
Apologies.
Just to clarify on that. But Alcaraz, what he's done there is remarkable. I remember that one in 2018 with Kevin Anderson. You had the ridiculously long semi-final, I believe, with John Isner. Don't quote me, but I think it was 7 hours or something ridiculous. Very long match.
Horrible.
Alcaraz did it without any monster match. And in the new format, he just went 5 sets all the time. The last one was 4 sets. It's just credit to him and his stamina, really. I don't know if we've got one from what the emojis he put out, because I thought that was quite good. Maybe we move on to that if you've got it. If not, I'm sure we'll come to it at one point. It is a good one.
Sorry.
It's his own tweet, but we can...
I don't think that one's even on it, actually. No, I don't think I have that one.
Oh, but there was something he said in Spanish, and it's about the mind.
Oh, yeah. I have that one. This one.
Yeah, here we go. Cabeza, corazón, and cojones. His mantra. He did the actual...
head, heart, and balls.
Yeah, we go. Head, heart, and balls. He did the emojis, and for balls, he just had...
eggs.
2 eggs, I think.
Yeah,
huevos.
2 eggs. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Brain, heart, and the huevos.
Yeah, and it's actually a mantra he follows. So listen to this. On social media, you used a lot. The brain, the heart, the huevos. What does that mean to you? Did anyone in your life tell you when you were younger that it was important to play with those things? And he said, these things mean a lot to me because my grandfather told me since I was a kid, in every match, in every tournament, this is something that I remember in all the tough moments. In all matches, in all tournaments, I remember that. I remember my grandfather. It's something that, thanks to that, I can push myself a little bit in the tough moments. Yeah, of course, it is thanks to him. So he's using that. So this is something which is quite interesting. When we're seeing Alcaraz fighting to the wire, what's going through his head in them big moments is he's thinking about his grandfather and what he told him and that extra little bit of motivation. And that's something I can relate to because I can kind of understand what that feels like. Like for me, my grandfather, things he's told me in tough moments, more in a business setting with careers and stuff, I would use his advice in their moments. And Alcaraz doing something similar. And I think that is such a powerful thing to have. And you cannot underestimate it. That's why I thought it was very interesting. I didn't know about it until after the final. But when you see Alcaraz with the brain, the heart, and the egg emojis on Twitter, or the saying in Spanish, I've probably made a mess of the pronunciation of it all. If you go up, you can see it.
Huevos?
No, up.
Oh, cojones.
Cabeza, corazón, and cojones. That's the mantra. Then that is what he's thinking in his mind. I thought it was interesting.
Yep, the corazón. He's definitely got a lot of that. The heart, for sure. So moving on to, well, I do think that's a really good thing, though, like you're saying about the whole, like, tapping into something that his grandfather...
It just allows him to go that extra...
And he definitely does tap into something.
It's such fine margins, tennis. You don't need to go much more. Sometimes just a little bit in these big moments. Just find a little bit of energy, a little bit of something which your opponent doesn't have, and you can win the match.
Exactly right.
It's fine margins.
That's it. And he seems to go there more than once every single match, like multiple times.
I love it. I mean, I can support him even more after that. Next
Definitely.
one.
Right.
So this is number of majors they've played to win their first. Nadal played 6 majors until he won his first. Borg 6, Sampras 8, Alcaraz 8, Djokovic 12, Federer 17. So look at these names. I mean, these are the greatest players who have ever played the game. But like literally the top. You could argue the top 5. They are serious tennis players, these lot. And
just a bit, yeah.
And when you're looking at the fact that he's, 4th on the list, and tied with Sampras.
Yeah.
Number one, it highlights how natural Borg and Nadal were at tennis, like how naturally it came to them, because it's so difficult to win a Grand Slam. And it is remarkable that we watched the McEnroe film, which came out the premiere, and we saw Bjorn Borg and what an icon he was in that era of tennis, and what he was able to do with the ball was better than everyone else. He was a rock star off the court, and he was just naturally gifted when it comes to tennis. I can't imagine his lifestyle was the most like in the gym every day. He was out doing all sorts,
like a
and
George
then playing
Best.
tennis. Yeah, and it was just a credit to him that he was able to do it after playing 6 majors. Nadal doing it in more recent times, I think it's even more impressive. But we know what Rafael Nadal is. I would argue he's the greatest of all time. You'll disagree with me, I'm sure, a lot of you. But he was able to do it after just 6 majors, and he's so natural. Alcaraz not far behind. And listen, we don't want to get carried away, but he's on track to maybe reach 15, 20 Grand Slams.
Yeah, I mean, all
It's
of
possible,
those,
isn't it?
it's a good list, isn't it? And you'll be happy that he's above Djokovic and Federer, I'm sure, in that list. I mean, it's not bad company to be in, is it? It really isn't. So,
Well, I mean, he's got another 9 Grand Slams to match Federer before he won 1. So imagine in the next 9 Grand Slams, Alcaraz is able to win, I don't know, even another 1. He's got a 2 Grand Slam head start on him.
Exactly. Well, it's possible. And that's the thing. It really is possible. Australia, he has a chance.
He's got a chance on all of them, really. But Wimbledon's the one where he's a bit missing at the moment. But let's move on to the next one.
Yeah, this one, youngest Miami and Madrid men's champion, youngest to defeat both Nadal and Djokovic, youngest ATP 500 champion ever in Rio, youngest US Open champion since Sampras in 1990, youngest Slam champion since Nadal in 2005, and just to top it off, the youngest world number 1 ever. Carlos Alcaraz is special.
Yeah. I can't say anything more.
No.
Very, very special.
Right. Move on to another one. Oh, this one's Jose Morgado, just confirming his year so far, I believe, in 2022.
Yeah, what I wanted to talk about with this one is obviously we've spoke about a lot of these wins already, but just the record he holds this year, 51 wins, 9 losses. He's 9 wins and 4 losses against the top 10 players. That is reminiscent of, for me, a top 5 tennis player in the world. The numbers and what he's been able to achieve this year, forget the rankings at the moment. We know he's world number 1. He definitely, on paper, is the top 5 players in the world right now. You can't argue with that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Most definitely. I mean, look at it.
Now you can sort of make a push for him being in the top 1, top 3, whatever, from 5 upwards. But there's no doubts about it, because coming into this year, the reason I emphasize this is we both was like, and an R on whether he can be inside the top 10. We both had him like 10th. He's now already surpassed that. He's a top 5 player, cemented.
Yeah.
Whether you want to call him your 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, that's up to you. But he's definitely within that contention, which is special.
And I think even if he hadn't won the US Open, you'd still looked at this year and
definitely
gone, this is an amazing year. Like, he's won 2 Masters events and 2 500s. Like, that's an incredible year for anybody on tour. But to add a Grand Slam, incredible. Right, this one, the positions that Alcaraz was able to win from at the US Open, I've just put them all together onto one page just to make it a little bit easier just to digest. And you can see here 2 of them from one match there, which was obviously the Sinner Alcaraz one there. Some interesting ones. There's a match point there for Jannik Sinner in the 4th set.
Well, the Sinner one's the craziest, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, Sinner serving for the match. He's advantage on his serve, and he ended up losing from that position in 5. You've also got to look at the Cilic one. Let's be honest. In the 5th, he was down a break, and he was 30-50 down, like against Marin Cilic, a big server. That would have been difficult to get back into.
Champion.
And of course, the Casper Ruud one, he had to fight back. 2 sets to 1 down would have been that. It would have been a big task. I'm telling you, Casper Ruud looked seriously good. He wasn't gonna. He wasn't just budging to one side like it felt. It felt like against Rafa, he was just a bit of an inconvenience. He was just there in the way a little bit.
It's there for a photo opportunity.
No, it didn't turn up. Like, he tried, but it just wasn't. It wasn't competitive. It wasn't really fun to watch. It was like a training drill. One player who was excellent at tennis, the other just looked out of depth.
His
of course,
idol.
it's his first one. It was a very tough match for him. This one, he was not out of depth. It was a match. It was a really good, well-contested match. Ruud can leave with his head held high. If he would have taken that third set, who knows what would have happened? Could have won his first Grand Slam.
Maybe
and we
it
could be
went to
talking about
5
Casper
even.
Ruud right now.
Would it have been even better if it had just been
I thought it was
that
a great final anyway. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, if it had gone to 5 again, would that make it even greater, this Grand Slam? I'm not sure.
Maybe,
Probably.
but I don't know. I enjoyed it regardless.
Indeed. And this one talking about the final, it's saying Casper Ruud won a ridiculously high 65% second serve points versus Alcaraz in the US Open final. He committed less errors and won more points at the baseline. He will probably never play a match that well and lose for the rest of his career. Bravo, Casper. Yeah, I mean, he played really well, didn't he?
Yeah.
Look at those numbers there. Less errors, considerably less. Was it 13 less errors? And what's that? More points at the baseline. But that's actually more of a surprise. I'm actually a bit shocked by that he won more.
He turned up, and it just echoes exactly what I was saying. This is a nice tweaks. It reinforces everything about how I feel about Ruud. He was a good player. He played very well, and I agree with the fact that if he plays like that against a lot of other opposition, he's gonna end up with a slam.
Yeah, I still believe that he'll win at least one slam, Casper Ruud. I think he's got all the ability. Maybe just needs to be a little bit meaner. Is that a bit of a mean thing to say to him? I'd quite like to see there be obviously with Alcaraz, he looks like he could be quite mean. Like I've seen him in matches before when he's given players glares out of his eyes that just think like, whoa, don't mess with him right now.
Yeah, I think maybe you're onto something. Maybe if he was a bit of a meaner character, but then you can't change who you are, and he's not that type of person. So
it's like asking Sinner to be meaner. I don't think he could do it either. It's
like asking you to come on the podcast and start making jokes and be funny. I mean, if you've not got it, you've not got it.
Have you got it? I don't know. It's a generally unfunny podcast. Right, this one is quite a funny one. Anyway, this one's good. The combined age of the US Open singles winners, Iga and Carlitos, 40 years old. So Serena will be happy about that one. She retires at 40, and these two, add them together, you get a Serena. What about that?
That's all I was thinking about when I pulled this tweet off. It's pretty mad, but it's great that the future of tennis are finally flourishing and coming through to the forefront and showing what they can do and win the big titles.
Yeah, most definitely. And I think we just got like a couple of fun ones to finish off. This one is, I thought this was pretty funny. He's younger than most of the ball boys.
and girls.
And girls as well, yeah. But it was interesting to see, like, obviously they do have some like older ones at the US Open. They're not just all like very, very young children. But you can see there, like, he is definitely not the youngest person there.
Yeah, I prefer it when they give it to the younger people, like the younger, I don't know, like teens. But yeah,
why not? I thought
not much I can say about that, mate. He's just the youngest.
Yeah, I know. He just fits in.
You can zoom in as much as you want. I mean, I've got nothing to say on it.
Give him the same top. He'll be well away. I saw a picture of him in Times Square holding up the trophy as well. That was like, looks like just some boy holding up a trophy in Times Square. People going like, who's that? Right. And this one, this was the one we were just going to save for last. It's like a good way to finish up, isn't it? The winners of the slams this year, and that's the last slam. And we've had Rafa, Novak, and now Carlitos.
And who's going to be most disappointed with that? I think it's got to be Daniel Medvedev as one of the top players. Disappointed he didn't win a slam this year. Of course, a bit unfair because he wasn't able to play all of them. Same with Djokovic. He was only allowed to play 2 of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was a great year of tennis. I really enjoyed it, of course, for obvious reasons. Rafa starting them so well, and disappointed he couldn't have maybe done more in the US Open. But moving on to 2023, of course, we will save them predictions for later. But as an initial take, I think we are going to see, this is all I'm going to say on it. We've seen three out of the four go to the big three in Rafa and Djokovic last year. 2023, I think we're only going to see one.
Was this the new big three? Those ones at the
That-
top?
No, not quite. But that's my big outlandish take. 2023, Djokovic and Nadal or Federer will only win one slam between them in 2023.
Interesting. Well, there's certainly going to be a slight decline, but never say never with the big two.
Ben's going to be going for probably Djokovic first one, Nadal second, Djokovic third, and Medvedev US Open. I think that is the typical Ben prediction for all four.
Djokovic wins all the lot.
Or you could
Four
go
slams.
Djokovic all of them and then just Nadal and Roland Garros.
Djokovic out in the first round of every slam.
Well, listen, it's not going to be easy for Djokovic.
No.
Kyrgios is looking good at the moment, and I don't think this year off from Novak's going to help him next year.
Well, he's still got a slam. That's the thing with him. He still managed to sneak in one slam, even though he wasn't able to play many. But the big one he'll have all the nightmares about was the match probably against Rafa. And there's not much you can do about that. Unfortunately for Novak, he played Rafa Nadal at his best tournament. Rafa had the injections. Rafa was on a warpath. He was determined to win that title, and he got it. And now, Carlitos, he's the next Spaniard on the scene for Djokovic to worry about. He's already beaten Novak Djokovic before. He's beaten Rafa Nadal before. And I don't think it's going to be the first time. There'll be many more times that Alcaraz is going to defeat all of these players. I just can't wait to see those matches. They're going to be exciting.
Yeah, I agree. And here's the end to the US Open. It's all over. Thank you, everyone, for all of the support. Great to have gained so many new subscribers as well. I know I've already said a big thank you to all the commentators. I'm just going to say it one more time. Thank you to all the commentators. We will be back covering tennis weekly from here on out to the end of the year. Make sure to join us for as many matches as possible. We're going to do some draw previews, some podcasts, and all of the other stuff, everything tennis. But thank you for a great US Open. Well done to Iga. Well done to Carlos Alcaraz. And hopefully we have some more young success. But hopefully Rafa can win one more. That's all I'm going to say.
We'll wait and see, I guess.
Thanks for watching. Vamos.